Today I want to teach you how to refill a Pentel color brush. With my Pentel color brushes, what I find is this, that there's some things you control about them and some things you can't control about them. One of the things is how heavy a flow it is or how light a flow it is. And so if I want to do larger, more simplistic letter forms, I'll use the 1H, heavier flow. If I want to do finer writing, more complex, then I'll have the one labeled L, a lighter flow. So that's just my own little personal thing there. Today I'm going to be showing you how to refill the one that's green. If you're refilling your Pentel color brushes, please try to stay away from anything that is waterproof. If you fill this with waterproof ink, once the waterproof ink hits the fibers here, nylon fibers, and it dries, it's pretty much shot. So anything that I use to refill the Pentel color brushes is not going to be waterproof. I look to find something that says watercolor in a dropper and bottle. Dropper makes it more convenient to fill. Don't have to, you can use a pipette. So this is just one of many, and there are a lot of others. So anything that's a watercolor, and because it's so difficult, if not impossible, to find the color refills for these, then you'll want to have a bottle ink that's similar in color. You won't get it exactly. This is what the refills used to look like. There may still be some available online, but I find them difficult to put my hands on anything that's in color. I think the black refills are still available. But anyways, it's more cost effective to do the refill yourself. And so we have our Pentel color brush. One end, the beautiful, really wonderful quality of this brush that springs back and almost one size fits all for all of your lettering. So many good things about it, and at an affordable price too. 2020 here, these run you about $10 most places. And so let's see how we're going to refill it, what we need to refill it. Of course, the Pentel color brush, some ink watercolor that's close to what's in the brush already, that's not waterproof, and handy to have a dropper. And then you're going to have an X-Acto with a number 10 blade. That's this bow shape or scalpel shape right here. And so, and then paper towels, lots and lots of paper towels, as you'll see. Once we disassemble the Pentel color brush, in the top right here, inside this chamber, I think you can see it here, there's a plunger, a little plunger device right here. And its function is to help push aside in the bottom this little plug right here. When you screw the two together, that plunger right there displaces that little plug. And then when you squeeze, you get the ink flowing. When you have a new Pentel color brush, you have that little spacer right here, and that keeps the two separated, so you can never get the ink flowing from here to here while that little spacer is on the new one. I will recommend to you that you have at least one other Pentel color brush where you never remove that spacer. This brush is so good, these nylon filaments are so good, I use the one with a spacer on it to use as a dip brush into more permanent writing fluids like gouaches and watercolors. Great, great tool. Right here, there's a place where you can place your blade and pry at it. Keep prying, work your way around, and little by little, it's going to give way. I think you might be surprised what's attached to this. You know how squeezable the handle of the Pentel color brush is. And of course there's ink in there, but that ink has to have a way to come up through the chamber and into the brush. And if we just are patient enough here, try not to cut it, just push it out, and there's this siphon tube that will come out. You can see right now that it's important to have a piece of paper toweling here. There may have just been a little bit right here. We'll see. If I back away, you'll see that siphon tube. And so of course when you squeeze this, the ink within the body here goes up through the siphon tube and into your mechanism at the top. So what we need to do is, once we've got this siphon tube out, you can rinse it if you'd like. I would do that. But the most important thing is to fill this with the ink that we have here, or watercolor. Remember, not waterproof. Okay, let's fill this now with the ink. The Hydrus ink is usually somewhat opaque. Some of the other watercolors are more transparent. You can thin this out with water and make it more transparent, but I won't today. So all I'm going to do is take my dropper and start filling it. If you use a pipette for this, then of course the pipette's going to get pretty discolored, but if you spend some time cleaning it, because you don't have to refill these that often, it might be worth it. But I like having the dropper in water. This is the little siphon tube that I pulled out of the green Pentel color brush, and I've cleaned it. The way I cleaned it was this. There's the top here, and you can just nice and easy pull that off, and you'll see that there are two parts here, an outer tube and an inner tube. And what you can do here is just pull that off, and I've rinsed this out with hot water and brushed it off with an old toothbrush on the outside, both. And now they're nice and clean, and this will facilitate a nice flow once you get everything put back together. There it is. And so now I can take my siphon tube here and the body of the brush right there that has ink in it, and obviously I didn't fill it too full, and now I'll ease this in here, and depending on how much or how little ink I have there, you could have a gusher. And so this is a good moment to have a paper towel handy to push in finally right there, just in case any squirts out. But once again, your best friend here is lots and lots of paper toweling underneath and on the side as well. So now we fill the handle of Pentel color brush, and we can put it back together. Good to flush this out. So once you've washed the top structure here, little chamber where the ink percolates down into the ferrule and into the brush, then we can just put it back on and clean the cap as well, it doesn't hurt. And so now when we give this pretty good squeeze right here, we should be able to see the ink percolate down through the chamber and then flow out through the brush. And as usual, we squeeze out a good amount onto the paper towel and then wipe it like that so that it both saturates the brush and brings it to a point. And now we've refilled our Pentel color brush. That's it.